Photography by indigenous peoples of the Americas is an art form that began in the late 19th century and has expanded in the 21st century, including digital photography, underwater photography, and a wide range of alternative processes. Indigenous peoples of the Americas have used photography as a means of expressing their lives and communities from their own perspectives. Native photography stands in contrast to the ubiquitous photography of indigenous peoples by non-natives, which has often been criticized as being staged, exoticized, and romanticized. 1880s to 1920s. Indigenous peoples of the Americas embraced photography in the 19th century. Some even owned and operated their own photography studios, such as Antonio Calderón Sandoval, Purépecha, ca. 1847 unknown, the grandfather of Frida Kahlo. Benjamin Haldane, 1874–1941, Tsimshian of Metlakatla Village on Annette Island, Alaska, and Richard Throssell, 1882–1933, Cree of Montana. Max T. Vargas, father of pin-up artist Alberto Vargas, was a successful mestizo photographer in Arequipa, Peru, who taught photography to Martín Chambi, Quechua, 1891–1973, an indigenous miner. Jenny Ross Cobb, 1881–1959, Cherokee Nation of Park Hill, Oklahoma, began developing her own film as a young child and photographed her college classmates, family, neighbors, and students. The works of these early indigenous photographers stand in stark contrast to the romanticized images of non-native photographers. Recent scholarship by Mikel Askerin, Tsimshian Tlingit, on the photographs of Benjamin A. Haldane has analyzed the functions that Haldane's photographs served for his community. As markers of success by having European-American-style formal portraits taken, and as markers of the continuity of potlucking and customary ceremonials by having photographs taken in ceremonial regalia. This second category is particularly significant because the use of the ceremonial regalia was against the law in Canada between 1885 to 1951. Native American boarding schools were important centers for photography at the turn of the century. John Leslie, Puyallup, learned photography at ca. Carlisle Indian School. In 1895, Leslie published a book of his photography and exhibited his photographs at the 1895 Atlanta International Exposition. By 1906, Carlisle Indian School built a state-of-the-art photography studio and taught photography classes to its native students. Parker Mackenzie, 1897–1999, and his wife Nettie Odell T. Mackenzie, 1896–1978, purchased cameras and took photographs while they attended Phoenix Indian School in 1916. 1920s to 1940s, Peter Pitsiolak, 1902–1973, Inuk from Cape Dorset, Nunavut, documented Inuit life in the mid-20th century while dealing with challenges presented by the harsh climate and extreme light conditions of the Canadian Arctic. He developed his film himself in his igloo, and some of his photos were shot by oil lamps. Horace Pula, 1906–1984, Kiowa, shot over 2,000 images of his neighbors and relatives in western Oklahoma from the 1920s onward. Jean Fredericks, B. 1906, Hopi, had to carefully negotiate cultural views towards photography and made a point of not offering his portraits of Hopi people for sale to the public. 1950s–1999 for a 1980s exhibit of Hopi photographers at Northlight.